What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Elliott. Oh, this is Sparky. We're back again like you never left. And today we're going to be talking about Eotech Vudu. Yeah?
You stepped in what?
No, shut up. First things first, velocity ammo. All right. Oh, it's already on the table. They fund the Freedom Seeds for the channel, so we want to say a big thank you to them. If you head on over to basementoperator.com and then go to the links, click on Velocity's page. Next thing's next, Basement Operator. Actually, this one's coming out way past that one, so turn back around.
Oh, well,
this one right here, and you're probably going to be seeing Christmas stuff actually when this one comes out. Yeah,
man, we
really
got some Christmas cards.
And next thing's next. Eotech did not send this. We were thinking about the video, and we were like, first thing, the reason we should buy this, because it's expensive. No, that's not actually why. So this is the Eotech Vudu. This is a higher end LPVO. Runs about $1,400 MSRP without the scope mounts. There's your price point. Let's talk about use case and then the functions of it and why anyone should buy it if they should want to buy it. We have a ton of LPVOs. Absolute, pretty much ranging from super expensive to, you know, just cheap LPVOs. So we have a lot of experience in terms of, you know,
in the broad stroke.
In the broad stroke, yeah, because we obviously haven't, we're not veterans. We haven't been to war.
We don't use these for our job.
We don't use these for our job, but we do LARP on the flat range with cry pants on. So, you know, take that for what you want.
A lot of Wii stuff. You got a mouse in your pocket?
No, yeah, well, some of us don't have cry pants.
That's right.
But we've seen a lot of them. We've looked through a lot of them, and I think we have a pretty good opinion on how we feel about the different optics that come in on the channel. So this one right here is a 1:8 LPVO. It weighs about 20 some odd ounces. It's about 10 or 11 inches depending on how much you unscrew this, which that is huge. And then you have a 30mm tube, which is pretty standard, and then your capped deterrents and your illuminated reticle. Now, the 1:8 LPVO is kind of, I wouldn't say it's a new thing. The 1:8s have been out. Stuff's starting to push into the 1 to 10s, and that's becoming a more and more.
It's kind of just progressed that way.
Yeah, it's progressed.
1 to 4, 1 to 6, and just
yeah,
keep going.
they really were started at the 1 to 4s, and then now we're pushing out further magnifications. And honestly, we talked about this before on other videos, but as you start to push in that magnification, your field of view on the maximum power starts to drop significantly.
And you lose the point of having an LPVO.
Yeah, and you lose the point of having an LPVO. Now, with the Eotech Vudu, that 1 power obviously is a very crisp, really good 1 power, I think. Especially if you use the illuminated reticle, it really simulates what you would want out of an LPVO. The red dot on the illuminated reticle is, you know, crisp and very easy to identify and pick up.
That's what I like, because if you're shooting, you got like a darker background behind your target, it's easy to find that dot as opposed to the crosshairs.
But this dot's a really good dot. Even in the sunlight, you can really pick it up.
It's got some BDC in it.
Yeah, but the BDC is not illuminated. It's just the dot.
The dot that's illuminated.
Yeah.
But the actual reticle does have BDC.
Yeah.
For your elevation, for if you want to reach out there and touch something, if you want to use the BDC.
And if you don't want to magnify, well, so there's a caveat to that. The BDC is used on the highest magnification setting, but it might be a little bit more useful if you figure out your holds, maybe on like a 6 or 4 power, if you don't want to zoom all the way in on a 1:8 and lose some of that field of view.
Yes.
Obviously, you want to spend a lot of time with
familiarizing yourself with it.
Exactly with your LPVO, learning your different holdovers. Maybe you're fine with the field of view at a 1:8 power, and maybe that's just, you know, what you want to work with.
Like the turrets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Eotech. It's meant to be bougie.
That's right. So why buy it?
The glass is super clear. We talked about that in comparison to, you know, the cheaper LPVO.
Because isn't that Eotech's like shtick for buying this one, or their higher end optics, is that the glass is the big difference?
Well, I mean, that's with every LPVO. Like you had said, when we talked about off camera, is the vortex. Here we are mentioning vortex again. It's the glass. So when you buy like a cheaper and more inexpensive optic, I think a lot of it is in the glass. So like if you're buying a Strike Eagle, right, which are, I don't even know.
Middle of the road.
Well, I think I don't even know if you can buy a cheaper LPVO from Vortex anymore. I think they discontinued the Crossfire.
Well, yeah, you're probably right.
Anyway, you don't get as high quality glass as if you're buying like a razor.
Yeah.
And then another thing is when you start buying these higher end optics, a lot of times they want to bump into a first focal plane optic to keep the holdovers consistent to where you can use like
out to 10.
Out to 10, or like if you want to do a 4 magnification on an LPVO and had a first focal plane, your holdovers would remain consistent because you know you got your 1 MOA drop, your 2 MOA drop, your 3 MOA drop. You just have to remember what your MOAs are. Whereas with this one, you got to do a little bit more to it. But a lot of the money goes into the glass and the coatings on the glass to let more light transfer through. You know, I'm not a scope engineer.
We didn't determine that one.
Yeah, we didn't determine that one. So I can't speak to all the technology behind it, but that's really where the money goes in terms of what you are. And obviously you're paying for Eotech too. Like
Ego Stroker.
Yeah, Ego Stroker is a big one. I mean, it's got a nice finish on it, although I've already scuffed the...
One thing I will say I really like about the Eotech is like the controls for the light and everything. You on, or for your illuminated dot.
Yeah.
You turn it on there and then you up and down for brightness on the outside. These buttons right here. I do like that. It's very simple to use. I like that.
It is. I haven't seen one like that before. A lot of them are just like that.
Twist that dial.
Yeah. And you know, you'd think there would be a better way to do it than the dial. Because sometimes, well,
there it is.
Because sometimes when it's like really cold,
it's
hard. The hard to twist the dial. But you know, just a little pressy.
And voila. I like it.
Yeah. We have this Eotech right here on the 14.5 Sabre from PSA. We have kind of, you know, we're using this as our more high-end AR-ish, higher-end-ish AR. We use the Stag a lot. We didn't use the Stag any for this review. We like the Sabre ever since we got past the little trigger issue. Sparky, do you have anything else to say about this Eotech? And it's...
I really like it.
Would you spend the money?
Personally, I would not spend the money, just me personally.
I don't think I would either.
But it is super nice, and if you're, you know, if you want to go all the way with the rifle, you can just spend buku's money on the rifle and like, oh yeah, what's another $1,500 when you're already spending $4,000 for the on the optic? Well, then why not?
That's true. If you have
if you're already in that market of the higher end stuff, then why not?
Yeah. I mean, if you already got $2,000 in the rifle
or more, you
might as well just go ahead and put $1,500 on the scope, and don't use an arrow mount. Use like a Geisley mount or a, I don't know, Arasaka or a Reptilia.
But this is, you know, meant more for guys that are going to use this for their job.
Yeah, exactly. That you're looking for a very dependable optic that is going to be heavy use.
Or competition, like you said before, like your competition guys that
are throwing this thing in barrels,
beating it up, and then like I said, like the people that are going to notice the clearer glass.
Yeah,
and all
when
that
you're really stretching your legs with the optic, and you really need a lot of that light to come through, so you can see your targets out to
using this optic to its fullest potential.
Exactly, and you're really pushing the use on it. Where, you know, I would say the vast majority of people they don't need it.
You're probably not gonna be, most people aren't gonna be able to tell the difference between this and cheaper.
Exactly, and we have talked about that in the past. Whereas like you pick this up and you look through it and you're like,
oh, that's nice,
beautiful. Then you pick up something cheaper and you look through it and you're like, oh, that's nice too. But you really have to have them side by side before you can really tell the clarity of it. But it is there. It's just I don't know if it's $500 more, like worth the extra $500 to $750 compared to like a $600 LPVO or like a $300-400 LPVO like the Strike Eagle.
Exactly.
You know, because I mean, I like the Strike Eagle a lot. I have one. It does the job, and for $400 or $500, you get a dependable optic.
But if money was not a factor, I'd buy it. If money wasn't a factor.
Yeah, if you're looking for a good optic and money wasn't a factor. Of course, if money's not a factor, probably going 9.4s.
Well, yeah, but.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. Would you rather have, if money's not a factor, would you rather have this or like a razor?
I like, yeah, that's not fair.
Start talking about Vortex. Sparky's
I like my Vortex stuff, man. I kind of like the razors. It'd be tough. I'd have to do some pondering. But
Hunter, what would you rather have?
Eotech or
a razor?
One time we tested that True Glow 1 to 10.
Oh, here we go.
What?
Well, keep going. I'm listening.
I had plenty of money left over to take your mom on dates.
Oh,
okay.
Gee. Yeah, you had enough to go down to Cookout and get you a tray?
Shoot, they've went up in price.
I know. Shoot, I bought some Little Caesars pizzas the other day. They're not $5 no more. Can you believe that?
Get wrecked. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that about does it. We really appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoy this content. And big thank you to Velocity Ammo for supporting the channel. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.